Hello, everyone. This is Lenard Guzman with Emily Robbins here on the Modern Divorce Podcast. It's October 12th. Lots of things going on. I see a pumpkin there and in your office, Emily. You don't have many I guess I should have had like a Halloween thing going. I'm going to do that probably next week. What's going on with the Halloween plans? Do you have a lot of stuff coming up?
Yeah, with kids, there's always a lot of stuff. We went to Disney Halloween. We're gonna go do the Oogie Boogie Bash. We did Knights of the Jack. So always lots of Halloween stuff to do. Got to get to a pumpkin patch.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
Lots of fun.
Lots of
Yeah,
fun.
we love Halloween.
Yeah, so I must imagine for you get do you get calls from clients about probably child custody stuff? Because I imagine like Halloween's it's something that parents probably fight over. They just have to kind of negotiate that among themselves and maybe switch every other year.
Yeah, yep. Usually, sometimes you have to go to court for the court to decide if they can't come to an agreement. But typically holidays are alternated.
All right. Well, it's that season because you got because Halloween. I remember it's like it goes Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year. So the next 4 months is just like holiday season. People take off and then you add another layer to it with COVID. So with the vaccinations and everything. So with
But
that,
this is my favorite time of year.
I know it's the only time in Los Angeles County where the weather actually comes down and we get to wear jackets. This is like rare for us. I think like what 2 months now we get a 2 month winter maybe.
Yeah, it's actually cold today. I had to put my kids in their warm jackets for school. It's like 40, it was like 48 degrees out. But I love this time of year. It's my favorite time.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing where it's especially children, they get memories this time of year and then all this stuff happens. And with that said, let's get into the meat of the show. Let's get into the news. So what we do on this part of the podcast, we go over the news, what's trending with divorce on the news, and a lot of celebrity news with what's going on. So let's get into it. Oh, Kelly Clarkson's dominating the divorce news. We covered this last week. This is an interesting twist because let's get into it because I can't resist. So Reba McEntire is Kelly Clarkson's, like, does this work like ex mother-in-law? So this is an interesting twist to it. So Reba McEntire can't play favorites in Kelly Clarkson's divorce. Reba McEntire staying out of the family drama. Of course, we drag her into this. The country singer revealed that she is not getting involved in Kelly Clarkson's divorce from McEntire's stepson, Brandon Blackstock, but she is praying for them both as their court case drags on. Kelly and I do talk, we text, and I love them both. So I can't play favorites because I've been a friend of Kelly for a long time. She added, Brandon's been my son forever. It seems although he's my stepson, I still love him like he's my total, my blood. So I'm praying for them both because I love them both. So she's not getting into it, but I imagine there's some like in-laws. How does this work? Like, does it complicate things when like in-laws have stuff like so for instance, I was watching the show Mrs. Maisel. It's on Amazon. The in-laws owned like the apartment because they were in New York of the couples, and then that couple divorced. does stuff like this happen? Because the in-laws own that property and we're like kicking them out. And I imagine there can be like some nightmare scenarios.
Yeah, it gets really ugly when other family gets involved and you get into these issues of, did the in-laws provide things as a gift or as, a loan? And do they allow one person to stay? Excuse me, allergies from the rain. Do they allow one person to stay and not the other? And, or are they going to be nice to everyone because there's grandkids? I mean, it gets really, really messy. And unfortunately, what ends up having to happen a lot of the time is if there's a dispute between the in-laws or a third party and one of the spouses, they're going to end up having to go through a separate court because family court won't necessarily deal with that issue. Or if it's intertwined enough with the family court, then they may end up dealing with it, maybe getting like joined as parties to the case and dealing with it that way.
All right, our next article is from EW. I think it's Entertainment Weekly. Yes, it is. Adele's next album is all divorce, baby, divorce. So Adele, I guess, recently came off a divorce. If you've been curious about the focus of Adele's forthcoming album 30, Wonder No Longer Divorced, Baby Divorce, the singer told a fan who asked about the highly anticipated release during her first ever Instagram live on Saturday. Writing my music has been really therapeutic for sure, Adele said during the question and answer session. The British powerhouse, who finalized her divorce from husband Simon Konecki, I'm probably butchering his pronunciation, in March, named the album 30 to represent the age she was when they married. The pair had been separated for nearly 2 years. So divorce can be a positive thing. People use it as inspiration in this case in Adele's work. Are there other things that people use to, come off a divorce positively?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people use it as inspiration, like especially if you're in the creative field, like for writing books. I mean, there's so many books written by people who've been through this divorce. Many people actually also use it as a career path changer. There's many people who have come off divorces and decided to go to law school because they were so fascinated by the legal process, or decided to become therapists because they see how much emotional, difficulty people go through during the process. Or even I know people who've become financial planners that specialize in helping women through divorce. So I think going through that experience can lead you to want to change career paths, and then makes a positive change in your life.
So here's an instance of someone using divorce as inspiration for comedy. So I don't know if you watched Saturday Night Live. Kim Kardashian was the host, and this is an article from glamour.com. So Kim Kardashian jokes about divorcing Kanye West over personality on Saturday Night Live. Kim Kardashian is ready to joke about, well, a lot of things. Keeping Up with the Kardashians didn't hold back during her Saturday Night Live debut on October 9th, especially when it came to her opening monologue. Nobody was safe, including her sisters and her ex-husband, Kanye West. I'm excited to be here tonight to show you guys that I'm so much more than just a pretty face and good hair and great makeup and amazing boobs and perfect butt. Kardashian said at the top of the episode, basically, I'm just so much more than that reference photo my sister showed of their plastic surgeons. She continued, but let's see where we can kind of get into divorce here. Let's see. So that's when she switched gears to her most recent ex. Despite various reconciliation rumors, Kardashian took shots at his failed presidential run and overall personality. So there's another example of how people use it to do jokes.
Yeah, I mean, look, like with celebrities, they've got to capitalize on this stuff because this is people thrive on drama and on, um, sucking up other people's life stories and also relating to them. So, you know, celebrities really should capitalize on it if they're going through something like that. But it's also important to remember that it's hard for them too. They're real people. They're going through a hard time and it's all public. Um, and while maybe they can use it for jokes or for, career boosts, um, there's a lot of real pain under there probably.
Good jokes, though. All right, next topic here from
True.
psychology, psychologytoday.com, how to create a resilient divorce-proof relationship before turning to divorce. Try these tips to help upgrade your relationship. So key points here was resilience in a marriage is the ability to bounce back or recover after difficult experience. This skill can be learned. Resilient marriages take work, determination, and grit. There are no easy marriages. Accountability, problem solving, forgiveness, and expectation reviews are some of the necessary skills for resilient marriage. Few points here. Number one, don't let your resentments pile up. Be accountable for your part in the troubles. Review your expectations of the relationship and your spouse. 4, express appreciation for the positive things your spouse brings into your life. Number 5, set a time every week for a quiet hour to check in with each other. 6, talk with them about your values and what matters to you in life. 7, get better at problem solving together. 8, this keeps going on going, but I'm going to keep reading. 8, what is your love language and what is your spouse's? 9, don't be an injustice collector. Forgive if you have a grievance. 10, make time for fun. 11, get professional help. Don't wait until it's too late. In the end, you may find your relationship is better than ever. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are all really good tips. It's called a divorce process because it's a process. It's not like a one-time make a decision or a one-time decision. You're making decisions throughout the entire thing. People change their minds, people reconcile. There's lots of different avenues and paths your divorce can take. There's no one set path that a divorce can take. So I think all of those are great tips. And I've seen people reconcile many, many times. So it's important to, like those tips say, if you think there's a chance to fix things, try it. Try all the different things you can, because you don't want to go through this process if there's alternatives for you that could work.
All right, this is an interesting one. This is from MSN.com. This is how much it costs to get divorced in every state. So the American divorce rate is at its lowest level in decades, with just 14.9 out of 1,000 marriages ending in divorce. Still over 746,000 married couples decided to split in the last year. Going through divorce can be a challenging process for the couple and their families, not just due to the emotional strain, but also because of its expensive undertaking. Each partner divorce will pay on average nearly $10,000 in legal fees throughout the process, and proceedings could even get pricier if children are involved. This is not the case everywhere, though. In some states, the average cost of divorce is less than $7,000, while in others, divorce legal fees can balloon to over $12,000. So as perhaps as expected, divorce is more expensive in states with higher incomes. In these states, people are better able to afford higher priced legal counsel. However, these states tend to have a much lower share of their population who are divorced. Among the states, so among the 12 states where divorce is the most expensive, just one has a higher share of its population that is divorced than the national rate of 10.9. Another factor affecting the price of divorce is children. The legal fees associated with sorting out custody agreements, child support, and other related issues increased the cost of divorce by an average of 36.7%, or over $7,200 nationwide. Never said anything about California. I'm curious about California, but what do you think about this whole pricing?
Yeah, I mean, the cost can vary widely, and I'm sure it varies from state to state, and I'm sure that it's different depending where you are. But really, the biggest, I think, factor that affects the price of the divorce is how much you litigate and fight. You know, attorneys, most of them charge hourly. So the more you can work out together with your spouse cooperatively, the less you're going to pay the attorneys. The more you fight over dividing the forks and spoons and, you know, every piece of furniture, the more you're going to pay. So really the best way to keep costs down is to, you know, work out as much as you can together without needing the attorneys to do it.
All right, so let's get into the part of the show where we're just going topics and topics on topics. So we're going to get to the part of the show where we ask Emily about divorce. We call it Dear Emily. And what people do is they ask about, let's say, you know, children, child custody, dividing assets, and Emily gives her insight here. So the first one here is, it's a child custody one, but let's read into it. What was it like before you married? 4 couples, now divorced or divorcing. I'm not sure if this is the correct type of question, so I'm genuinely sorry if it's not. Currently, I have a boyfriend and grew up with divorced parents since I was young. Were there any signs when you were dating that it wasn't going to work, or were there a lot of perfect love stories that also ended up in divorce? Is there anything in hindsight that makes more sense, or do you think things and people can completely change with the passage of time? And I think this is a person who went through a divorce as a child. So
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, I don't know if there's really an answer to that. I think anything's possible. I don't think there's generalizations like people don't change, or, you know, if they act like this, they're going to do this. But I do think that there's signs of each individual person that maybe they're not going to treat you well, or they're an unhealthy person. And I think the first time you see one of those signs, you need to think about it really seriously and decide if that's something you can live with, because nobody's going to be perfect, but we're all going to have things we can live with and not live with. And if you see a sign of something that you know there's just no way you could live with, for example, you know, if you see a sign that when this person drinks, they get really nasty and call you nasty names, and that's something you just never could be okay with if they don't change, then that might be a good sign that you know, they're not going to change once you're married, and that relationship should not go forward. If that's something that doesn't bother you and you just think it's funny and call them nasty names right back, then you know, maybe that's fine. But you have to look for the things that bother you, and if you see signs of those, I think that might be a good indication that it's not the right relationship.
All right, next one, life after divorce one. No one wants to live in the sad past, but I hope I will become the driving force of my life. Carefully reviewed my failed marriage, my interpersonal relationship after divorce, and my own development. I slowly started to feel my inner thoughts. I have also trapped myself in the failed past at every moment of my life. My family has become my only one. Fortunately, my family treats me the same way. It is easy to receive care and help from family members. My way to success, my failed marriage has turned out to be my biggest road to growth. I am not the only one for anyone outside of my family, but I can be myself, being strong and independent. is my last stubbornness.
What did you say? In my stubbornness?
My last, yeah, I guess that's, he said my last stubbornness. So, but hey, this person seems like they're on the right path. They're like, acting positive, and they feel good coming out of the divorce.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you want to feel. You don't want to feel like you made a mistake coming out of it, because then you might regret what you decided to do. Obviously you're not going to be happy, and you're going to have emotions that are difficult to deal with, and you have to grieve the loss of the marriage and all of that. But if you have these positive feelings knowing you did the right thing, that's what you want. You want to feel deep down like you did the right thing.
All right, so that's all the time we have for today. We went through all these topics. So we'll see everyone next week on the Modern Divorce Podcast. All right. Bye.